So Season 5 is right around the corner for Warzone and Black Ops Cold War, both going to be introducing some new content, as always with seasonal launches, maps, operators, weapons, battle pass stuff, you name it. But in regards to Warzone, there are a handful of things that actually may be pretty big within this season that aren't quite talked about. So today, I want to discuss some things that you might not necessarily consider when thinking about a seasonal launch here. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Of these, how many do you think are going to happen? And as well, what are you looking forward to the most within Season 5? Let me know down below, but if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below. Let's aim for 1,000 likes here on this video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, Cold War, Modern Warfare, anything regarding Season 5. As we gear up towards that, we'll keep you in the loop with all of it. So if you're interested, hit that subscribe button. But instead, let's jump right into the discussion at hand. So naturally, we're of course going to be seeing things like new maps, operators, and the likes, but that stuff is already known. That's a given, really, when it comes to seasonal launches. As we talked about on Friday, so far we know a bit of the stuff through teasers given to us via in-game cutscene, one of which that we know of is the map of Echelon relating to Teufelsberg in Germany. That's where Wraith signals our new operator that we'll be going to. Then we know of the Kitsune mask on the ground of that teaser, indicating either that same operator or a secondary new operator. We usually see 3, so that is in line as well. But then we also have the prospect of remake maps and other things that I'm sure will likely be clarified within the next 7 to 10 days, leading up to the launch of Season 5, right? But what about the bigger unmentioned things, the lesser seen items of discussion? Because there actually seem to be a couple of these that are absolutely worth mentioning. So far, we know of 3, maybe 4 big things that look to be coming with Season 5. The first and probably largest of that, though, is the COD 2021 Vanguard reveal. That's probably the safest bet. Naturally, we're well past when we'd normally see a Call of Duty reveal happen in previous years. We broke it down the other day where Cold War was the furthest removed from that sort of normal reveal time period by a mile. We're talking by a whole 4 months, but that was due to the launch of Warzone last March. Naturally, you launch the biggest extension of your game in franchise history as a free-to-play item. You're going to want to let that soar for a bit uninterrupted. So what did they do? They just shifted the time frame of everything up a little bit so that we saw a reveal in August. That affected this year, though, as we saw some potentially delayed integration, if that was ever intended to come at launch. We saw the integration come with Season 1, then we also saw the launch of Verdansk 84 in Season 3. That again then delaying things a bit because you're not going to launch a year 2 expansion and then announce a game right after that. So we're kind of in that same time frame or same boat as last year. As we mentioned, though, last year we did end up seeing things happen and starting on the 10th of August with viral marketing, meaning that care packages were sent out, scavenger hunts began, and the 2-week daily puzzle that was happening over on Pontek's Pawns ARG took place after that. Then, at the culmination of that, we ended up getting a teaser on the 19th of August with footage of famed Soviet defector Yuri Bezmenov with a description of know your history or be doomed to repeat it, with a date and location of Verdansk, August 26th. So we've already theorized when we'll see this happen this year, but again, it'll follow very similar windows likely, but with Season 5 no less, that big first key marquee item that isn't quite publicized and maybe I would imagine is publicized firstly within that roadmap as some sort of event that we see maybe detailed not tomorrow, but next Monday. It's also telling that we haven't seen anything leak in relation to game files outside of a few mentions of the coming event designated as X2. The Cold War event was labeled as X1 for reference, but that stuff I would imagine is for the very first time and as long as I can remember being held off until the very last moment when it's absolutely necessary. Again, likely that Season 5 launch update, the next title update for Warzone. Now, we did break down all of these dates and everything in detail, with my best guess being likely August 18th for an event, which if you cross that over with a seasonal launch and take a look at that calendar, that's the first week of Season 5, so things will likely amp up pretty fast, but it should be a marquee item of Season 5, no doubt. Number 2 up on this list here of big things happening within Season 5 are, of course, new perks and new changes to perks within Warzone. Now, this is another key piece of information that isn't quite confirmed or set in stone, and is rather just a decent assumption, in my opinion. It's something that I would expect to happen in Season 5 and to be a big update to Season 5 for that. During the Season 4 Reloaded update, we of course saw a ton of stuff in relation to weapon tuning and balancing, but as we've discussed here on the channel before, Raven also fully recognized the imbalance that Dead Silence can offer, but also put forth the idea of a counterplay option coming via a perk adjustment, that being to High Alert. That update didn't quite go live as of the Season 4 Reloaded update, and it didn't affect those perks just yet, but they also mentioned that alongside that adjustment to High Alert, we'd end up seeing 2 brand new perks for Warzone as well. And that part is important because it's only Warzone. These changes won't affect Modern Warfare's base experience. But while no timetable was given, again, the assumption is there that it'll be coming as of Season 5. Could that change? Absolutely, but it seems to fall right in line with the passage of how things have been going with Raven the last few updates. Each update bringing along with it at least one major fundamental thing here and one fundamental change. Season 4 Reloaded brought a ton of weapon tuning. Season 4 brought along a slight map update with the red doors, satellites, and such. Season 3 Reloaded was the introduction of the 80s Action Heroes event, the Nakatomi Plaza building that still is in downtown, the survivor camps, as well as that bunker within military base, along with John McClane and Rambo. And Season 3, of course, with the launch of Verdansk 84. So, of course, while we're likely to see something adjusted with the map again here thematically and following the narrative as the last 2 seasonal launches have brought forth, I'm also expecting something fundamental to happen with the immediate mention of it, as each recognition of a change in patch notes as coming soon usually indicates that it's going to be there as of the next update, or at least it's historically done that. So High Alert should introduce that counterplay option to hear Dead Silence and maybe break up the monotony of tier 2 perks, as statistically about 90% of players have Overkill or Ghost equipped on their loadouts. So that could break it down a little bit. We'll have to wait and see, but also the introduction of new perks poses big questions as well. I mean, what these actually could be, your guess is as good as mine. We've talked about this before as well, where Modern Warfare actually did a decent job, I think, at kind of introducing a lot of perks for basically everything that we've seen in the past perk-wise. A lot of perks, historically speaking, are either just built upon past iterations of it, or are just copy and paste with different icons. The propositions we've put forth here in the past have been things like a perk to allow you to see ghosted players with UAV, like a reconnaissance perk from World at War, something that helps reload armor plates faster, kind of like a dexterity, something like lightweight that reduces fall damage and allows you to move a little bit faster at your base, something like bandolier that could act as fully loaded but for weapons that don't have the fully loaded weapon perk on them, i.e. every weapon outside of Modern Warfare going forward. So I think there are a handful of options that are absolutely viable, but whether or not those actually happen, it's all speculation at this point. But I would imagine the second large event here happening within Warzone and Season 5 is that of those new perks and adjustments being introduced here. Now, those two, I have some high confidence in them happening. I absolutely think those will be sort of 2 marquee items within Season 5 that absolutely make some waves that may not get immediate coverage and that you might not immediately think of when it comes to seasonal launches. But number 3 here is one that I'm hesitant to mention because all signs do kind of point towards this happening finally, but at the same time, we've talked about it so many times and have hoped and crossed our fingers, whatever we want to do here for it, and we haven't seen it just yet. That being the introduction of Zombies Mastery camos from Black Ops Cold War into Warzone. Dark Aether finally happening and coming over to the game. And I know, man, we've talked about this so many times because we've seen progressive builds and everything like that, and it made sense so many times in the past for it to come, but it never did. Back in Season 3, content creators, press, and other people in media had a press briefing with Treyarch and Raven talking about the Season 3 upcoming changes and things coming along with it, where we got detailed the first notice of the nuke event here, the things that were happening with that, and the content to follow with Verdansk 84. And one of the questions during a Q&A portion, of course, was directed at Amos Hodge, creative director at Raven Software, in which he was asked straight up, is Dark Aether coming here to Warzone within Season 3? His answer was basically like, we're not quite there yet, but our goal is to be 1-to-1 on cosmetics. So with the only thing really missing from cosmetics, again, if my memory serves me correctly, being Zombies Mastery camos, that means that they should be coming here relatively soon, but that was 2 seasons ago. So soon may not be the best word for it, but it seems like maybe it's finally coming. Twitter user of Hey, I'm Alex, associated with the Cheeseburger Boys, leakers, data miners who we've talked about on the channel plenty of times, actually has some great showcased footage here of this actually being in Warzone, Modern Warfare's application. And while yes, it is forcibly applied via modding to weapons, the indication that this may be coming actually revolves around the fact that it's in the game. It's completed, the challenge tracking and camo selection icons are there. It can be applied to blueprints via that UI and camo selection. So while the footage showcased is modded, the important part is that the base requirements for it to actually work are in the game and are seemingly just behind that flick of the on switch. So I'm kind of 50-50 on this one here. I don't want to say definitively this is the next major event for Season 5, but it could be, and that has me incredibly excited. But I think something that would get me even more excited is the lowest thing here out of the events that could happen within Season 5 on that sort of confidence scale. Things that I'm not really expecting, I would hope comes within Season 5, and it would make sense for it too, and we'll explain why, but that being an anti-cheat within Warzone. Now, listen, I know that sometimes hackers and cheaters can get blown out of proportion. They're absolutely a scapegoat sometimes for people that are just in disbelief that they lost a gunfight. I am quite guilty of that myself, where I'll be like, whoa, man, that was sus. Why are you looking that way? Meanwhile, there could be a number of different options. I could be live pinged, somebody could have a UAV up, things like that. But my mind immediately just goes to, okay, well, there's a hacker problem. Maybe he was hacking. When I go and spectate, he's definitely not. But my squad and many others absolutely do run into an absurd amount of cheaters within Warzone. So the question has been, and still continues on, where the hell's this anti-cheat? Because Warzone is the only major game like this that has the AAA backing of it and doesn't have any sort of anti-cheat. We're going to talk about this in way more detail here in a day or two I think I have scheduled for while I'm away on vacation here. But the simple principle of it ends up coming down to, if you want to protect Warzone for years to come, like you talk about this being through line for Call of Duties scheduled for multiple years out, there's no way that's going to happen if you don't protect the player base and the interest of those playing it. So you're really only shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to not protecting this. And with a new game of Vanguard coming out here, being revealed, and potentially even seeing an alpha, a beta potentially happen during that time frame as well, with it having to run on the Modern Warfare engine, I don't think there's any other better time to kill two birds with one stone than to introduce an anti-cheat into Vanguard for the upcoming year, but also Warzone, given that it runs on the base fundamentals here with this. So maybe they're developing something in-house to kind of protect all Activision titles. We don't know, but God, do I hope that that is the fourth and final thing here that's a big event for Season 5. But that said, that's where we're at here at this. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Of any of these, what are you looking forward to the most? What do you think is the most likely to happen? What do you hope happens the most? Whatever it is, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, Cold War, Modern Warfare, anything Season 5 related. We have a ton of stuff to talk about here as we gear up to Season 5 and then as we get into Season 5 in just over a week's time. So if you're interested in any of that, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you also want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected on YouTube, practice on both those. So you guys want to start a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.